What children's cartoon had the darkest theme? Courage the Cowardly Dog immediately comes to mind, but not sure if it's dark or just creepy. I don't know about you, but if my kid was in Miss Frizzle's class, I wouldn't want them shrinking and driving around in a beaver's intestines or whatever. I mean, almost dying every week on a field trip, when they could have just read a textbook. The Last Unicorn. The Brave Little Toaster. Not necessarily dark, but watching Helga's antics in Hey Arnold as an adult, it hits different. As a kid you just see this crazy girl that likes Arnold. Now you can see the troubled daughter of a negligent father and an alcoholic mother, always in the shadow of her sister, and desperately cling to the one who showed her kindness. Watership Down. The Animals of Farthingwood was pretty dark. Over the Garden Wall. Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated show had an incredible amount of adult themes. People getting cut in half, stabbed through the chest, bombings, on-screen executions of civilians, general racism, terrorism, assassinations, war crimes, burning shit alive, and some of the most soul-tearing deaths in any animated series ever. I'm looking at you fives, Heavy, and 99. The Secret of NIMH. All Dogs Go to Heaven. An American Tale. The Land Before Time. Basically, any of Don Bluth's animated films are dark as shit and I grew up on them. Oh, I forgot about Iron Giant. That was sad and dark as well. Batman Beyond was really dark. First episode has Terry's dad murdered not as backstory, but in the main story. There are characters who get genetic modifications as if it's basic cosmetic surgery. You get characters who suffer a fate worse than death, like being turned into a pile of conscious sludge, or fall into the center of the earth. One of the darkest ones I remember had a surgeon tricked into helping a group of villains with superpower mods or something before learning they lied. The episode ended with him putting the ringleader under, with the ringleader unaware he'd learned the truth. And that doesn't even go into Return of the Joker. When I rewatched it years later, I was stunned there were any recurring villains because they seemed to die at the end of each episode. Cubone wears his dead mother's skull as a mask. Adventure Time alluded to the mushroom wars of the past, which were likely mushroom clouds from a nuclear war, suggesting that this fantastical world was really the new mutations from our post-apocalyptic future. For roughly the same era, it's kind of a toss-up between Batman TAS and Gargoyles. Both featured death, resurrection, and the horror of getting caught somewhere in between. If we consider dark as more mature, Avatar basically told a story about slavery, genocide, and totalitarian regime, discrimination, and more. The reason he's the last airbender is because they literally genocided his entire race. Pinocchio is extremely dark, especially for a 1940 movie, and really especially if you are at all familiar with the original source material. For example, that Pleasure Island guy gets paid for turning boys into donkey slaves, enjoys every second of it, and gets away with it scot-free. If I recall correctly, Popeye spent most of his time beating the crap out of Brutus for repeatedly trying to rape Olive Oyl. Casper was the ghost of a dead little boy. Invader Zim. Specifically the Dark Harvest episode and the one where Dib gets a robot body with the strength of 10,000 little boys. Bambi, because there's no villain, there's no evil that has a face and can be defeated. Fires start because of human carelessness, and Bob Mai's mom dies because hunters kill. And then there is the brutal nature, so humans are just one of many variables outside of characters' control. Characters can't get any justice when something bad happens, that is simply the reality they live in. There's also no comforting tale or a song to make it sound okay, life just goes on for those who survive.